Visa wants to know, where would you like to be? Whether you're a super fan or just in it to win your league, Visa knows we want to spend less time standing in line and more time pursuing our passions. That's why for over 60 years, Visa has been adding innovative plays to the way we pay. From tapping to pay to getting paid in 30 minutes or less, they're giving businesses and consumers more tools to do just that. They know that every Visa transaction is a promise, whether it's a street vendor in front of the stadium or picking up the latest NFL gear online. Visa wants to provide us with the most secure and easy payment experience possible, so everyone, everywhere, can get to where they'd like to be. Visa, everywhere you want to be. Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. Happy Veterans Day. I am Jenny Taft, here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys.
Hey, Skip. Oh, Shay. You back at it again. You know what? Because I got so tired of you hearing, you picked the Cowboys and you're celebrating. Who did I pick, Skip?
Picked the Vikings.
Okay, what did I pick the score to be, Skip?
I don't remember.
27-24. Someone's in the kitchen at Chef's Place, cooking up a storm. I know. Someone's in the kitchen at Chef's Place. He's the only chef I know.
Beautiful.
Hey, Skip, how you doing?
I don't even know what any of that means.
I love it.
Why would the chef wear a jean jacket? I don't really get that.
You know, it's fashion.
I've never seen a chef in jean jacket before,
c'est très chic.
whatever.
It's
your day. It's your way.
You
do it.
I'm a 21st century Shay.
Really?
I'm going to win that award your brother won. That old James Beard Award.
Yeah. He's won it twice, so you got ways to go.
Wow.
I just go with it one time.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
how you doing today?
That.
You good? Let me get these back on. Oh, there you go, Skip. I missed you.
Talking. All I know is you should have invited my quarterback to your restaurant.
No. He did. He came.
He did?
Got them on fresh air. Bananas
I appreciate the Chef Shay. Clearly, I was happy about that one. Guys, we have a busy show today. Did Lamar Jackson prove he is the MVP? And was LeBron the reason the Lakers lost last night? But first, we are going to start with the Vikings and Cowboys from last night. Minnesota was focused on stopping Ezekiel Elliott and held the running back to just 47 yards on the ground. The Cowboys offense relied heavily on Dak Prescott and the passing game to move the ball. Dak had nearly 400 yards along with 3 TDs, but down 4 with a minute and a half remaining. The Cowboys chose to run it twice from the Vikings 11, which resulted in a loss of 3 yards. On 4th down, Dak would throw an incomplete pass to Zeke. Dallas got the ball back with enough time for one Hail Mary attempt that resulted in Dak's lone interception of the game. And Jerry Jones said he wouldn't second-guess the play calling late in the game. So, Shannon, please tell me all the good. What happened last night?
Oh, first cousin got it done. That, down by the way, what we call him kinfolk Kirk.
He finally got
the crib, that's what we call him. Oh, kinfolk Kirk.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that underconfident, overachiever went to Cowboy Stadium and did a number on Dak Prescott.
Well, he lit him up.
No. It's not your turn. I didn't ask for metaphorically or rhetorically ask you a question. This is my time to shine. Let me have my moment. Thank you, Skip. Appreciate it. And I'm going to be very good. I'm not going to bore you. It's not your turn just yet. So sit back and let me have my moment, Skip.
You're already boring. Because you're already wrong.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
What were the QBRs?
Whoa. Skip, it's not your turn. I'm gonna allow you time to make all your points, but just for this,
So, are you saying that Kirk Cousins outplayed Dak Prescott?
That underconfident overachiever got it done. Because all I heard, my quarterback against Kirk Cousins is yada, yada, yada. He can't get it done, but I told you he's coming in with a different team. Now, I watched this game very, very carefully. Gary Kubiak, who's my offensive coordinator in Denver, that game plan looks so familiar. When you go on the road in a hostile environment, I was like, man, that looked like a game plan we took to Kansas City. That looked like a game plan we took to Pittsburgh. The crowd is going to be ruckus. The defense, woo! Skip, did you read this? Jason Garrett, they say Jason Garrett was addressing the team, and he was talking about the team and Dalvin Cook leading the league in rushing. They said, Dakota Prescott leaned over to D-Law. D-Law, you hear that? Not after Sunday. He left as the lead rusher. He coming back as the leading rusher.
True.
Yeah, he did. Skip, when you have a game plan like this, and you look at Dalvin Cook's number, they're not overly impressive. He averaged under 4 yards a carry. But a lot of times when we took a game plan like this on the road, Skip, it was to let them know you're just not going to pin your ears back. And if you notice, Skip, there was a lot of bootlegs, a lot of play action, a lot of cutbacks, because what the Dallas Cowboys line likes to do is they like to stunt. They like to try to cut across your face and try to snuff you out in the backfield. So that's why the play action, the bootlegs were there a lot, and you saw, dealing Kirk. Dealing that thing. He was dealing that thing.
Never seen anything like it.
Yeah, you did.
Lit him up.
Yeah. Oh, no. No, because I remember on Thanksgiving Day, you came over here and talked about, he could get it done. But when he got into the red zone, what did he do last night when he got in the red zone? Not your turn to talk. I love the game plan. I love the way they were committed to running the football. And if you look at Cousins' numbers, while they're not overly impressive,
thank you.
He did the one thing that when you go on the road, you can ill afford to do, and that's turn the football.
Correct.
He took care of the football.
Give you that.
He made big-time throws, Skip. Hey, and another thing that they did is that you have to do this. You must stay ahead of the sticks. You must be in third and manageable. Now, give the Cowboys credit. They got 3rd and 14, 3rd and 12, and they couldn't come, and Minnesota couldn't get them off the field. The Vikings stayed 3rd and manageable. That's why they were 8 of 14 on 3rd downs. That was a big key of it. They possessed the ball 7 more minutes, if I'm not mistaken, than the Cowboys. They ran the ball overwhelmingly better than what the Cowboys did. The Cowboys pass rush, Robert Quinn and D. Law and Bennett and all those guys, Skip, it was neutralized because when you got a team that wanted to fly up the field, we run screens on you. D. Law has 8 tackles, but probably 7 of them was down the field, 10, 15 yards down the field. And guess what has to happen when he has to run down to that far? He has to come out. So give the Vikings credit, Skip. They played an unbelievable game plan. They had an unbelievable game plan to go into the game. We're going to run it, we're going to screen it, and we're not going to put the ball in harm's way. And defensively, I told you this, and I'll tell anybody this, and people are going to look at it like Zeke only had 20 carries for 47 yards. That was their commitment. They said, we refuse to let Zeke Elliott, because this is what we know. Zeke Elliott can beat me. We have yet to see your quarterback beat a team, a playoff caliber team. Here we are again, Skip, rearing its ugly head, another playoff team, you're losing. We have yet to see your quarterback, without Zeke going off, win a ball game. The Minnesota Vikings won, and I get me a case.
We didn't bet anything.
Oh, I know that, Skip. Don't
we didn't bet
like
anything.
That.
We bet 0. You didn't bring it up. Nope, we didn't bet anything. So now you have fantasy cases that you're winning. If you want to win fantasy, you got it.
You know what, Skip? I don't even want to bet.
Well,
you know what I bet? I bet that look on your face right now.
Okay.
That's what I want.
Tell me when it's my turn.
Take your time. It's your turn.
I got a whole lot to say about what I saw and did not see last night. So, to your points, I will be the first to publicly admit I way overrated my Cowboy defense. That great pass rush, it comes and it mostly goes. And when you need it to be there against a good team in a big moment, it is not there. And my running game, it mostly goes. Because against a good team, my team cannot run. It can't stop the run either also, but my running back has turned into a shell of himself. I don't recognize Ezekiel Elliott anymore. I don't recognize his run blocking, but he can't make anybody miss. I don't see any jump cuts. I don't see any explosion at the line of scrimmage. I don't see sudden. I don't see quick. I don't see much of anything from 21 anymore. And he has become a liability and a dangerously overpaid liability because Jerry gave him way too much money at $50 million guaranteed. And he mostly last night looked like he was running in the sand on the beach at Cabo.
Skip,
that's what that looked like. 20 rushes for 47 yards?
Hold on, Skip. You just said last week he was the best. You just said he was the best back last week.
I thought he was, and I just told you I way overestimated my run game and my defense. And you know what? Zeke was actually the 3rd best running back on the field last night because Dalvin Cook just made him look silly. And Alexander Madison, he's pretty good too because he's a bowling ball sledgehammer. And again, he ran so hard and dragged so many Cowboys for so many critical yards that I'm saying last night I sat back and said, I'll take him over 21 right now. But you know what I did not overrate or overestimate? What? My quarterback.
Oh, my goodness.
He is really, really good. In fact, he's even better than I thought he was.
I can't tell. They still catching nails.
Yeah. You know, I've been right from the start about Dak Prescott. I told you he has led this league in game-winning drives over his first 3 seasons. And again and again and again, he was the reason who brought them back and camouflaged all these flaws I just talked about. Because again and again, he willed this team to victory.
Not last night.
He was about to do it again last night, when he was on fire. He was unstoppable. And when push came to shove, when it looked like it was on the precipice of ending up 31-28 Dallas, just because of my quarterback, something happened that I'll never get over. I remain traumatized, devastated, demoralized, shell-shocked, blindsided, and ultimately completely and utterly confounded and baffled by what I saw on the last 3 offensive plays in the drive of the game.
Okay.
Not the very last.
Right, the series before the last drive.
Okay, I'm going to remind everybody that Dak Prescott last night had a QBR of 88. It was the second best of the whole NFL weekend to Lamar Jackson's, and we're about to talk about it. He had a near-perfect QBR. Dak's was second best. That 88 was about to vault him back into the NFL lead for QBR. So right now, as we speak, my quarterback is leading the whole league in QBR, which is a rare feat. And my quarterback was at that point 9 of 15 on third downs because he was out of his mind making, he converted, listen to these third downs. He converted 3rd and 14, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 3, 2 and 2. 9 times he converted. Guess how many times Zeke converted last night on third down? Big 0. They had no running first downs last night on third down.
Yeah, just give me you're making my point.
No, I'm making my point. And we had just watched my quarterback take the ball on a great punt by the Vikings, pin them back at their 6-yard line, and he had gone from the 6 all the way to Minnesota's 11. Guess how many yards that is? 83 yards my quarterback had thrown my team all the way down to the 11. Want to hear the completions? He goes 10, 13, 20, 8, and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 2 at the Minnesota 11-yard line. And what happened on the next 3 plays? The ball was taken out of my quarterback's hands because they went to Zeke on all 3 plays. I don't know if Jerry called down from his box and said, I just gave him $50 million guaranteed, put the ball in the game back in his hands. I don't know if Jason Garrett said, just run it, and throw it to Zeke. I want the ball in Zeke's hands in the key moments of this game. I don't know, but I remain absolutely devastated by what happened because my quarterback didn't get to determine the outcome of a game that he was about to win. So I'm going to give you 2nd and 2. I'll give Zeke one more chance. It's a read option play, but you know what should have happened on the play?
Dak should have kept it.
He just should have kept it. Guess how many runs Dak had last night? My quarterback can really run it. My quarterback took over the Seattle playoff game with his legs as well as his arm. Guess how many runs he had last night? How about a big 0? No. Did you see Did you see a quarterback draw last night? Did you see a bootleg keeper last night?
400.
Okay, I thank you. He was unstoppable throwing the ball. But if you're going to mix it up and if you're going to run the ball on 3rd and 2, why don't you let him keep it?
No.
Yeah, why not? Because you're sitting there saying, thank you. They took the ball out of 4's hands and they put it in 21's hands. And I've never seen anything like it because predictably, right, and you can look at my timeline on my tweets, I'm saying, stop it with Zeke.
Yep.
You're wasting too many downs. He's going for 2 yards and 3 yards and putting you behind the chains and making my quarterback convert all those 3rd and longs. And he just kept doing it. So now they hand it to him again and it goes nowhere. So now it's 3rd and 2. That was a 0.
No, I'm saying that on the 3rd down.
Okay, but I gave you 2nd down.
Okay, yeah,
okay, you try him one more time because he used to be Zeke, and you say,
he still is
how many times has he run through brick walls on 3rd and 2 for this team? So you give him, you pay homage to him, you just say, okay, we'll get to have that one. But on 3rd and 2, I got a big issue because I fell out of my chair and rolled on the floor when they tried a shotgun give to him underneath where he took it outside.
Right.
And he went nowhere fast because he went backwards. Vikings were all over him. Again, I don't see any quickness. I don't see any jump cut suddenness to him.
What are you supposed to do with this?
Okay.
Where's he supposed to go?
I'll bet Dalvin Cook would have made 5 yards on that play.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll bet he would have jump cut backwards and all of a sudden he'd been loose. And
so now you want Zeke to turn into Barry Sanders.
Okay, well, I want him to turn into somebody who can make 3rd and 2. That's all I care about. If my quarterback doesn't get to make 3rd and 2, he should. But the point was, you just let the quarterback throw it. He's got a connection with Amari Cooper that's right up there with Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett or anybody else.
I'll give you
Brady
that.
and Edelman. Nobody has better chemistry and rapport than these two have. And we saw it demonstrated all night.
Right.
So in the end, with the game on the line on 3rd and 2, I want my quarterback for throwing it to 19 Amari. That's all. It's as simple as that because it's unstoppable when they want it to be. So now we get to 4th and 5 because it goes backwards. And guess what? Dak wants to go, and he wants to go fast, and he's going to call his own play, and I would have trusted Dak to make this play. But guess what? Mike Zimmer saved the game for the Vikings because he called time out. And you know what that forced Dak to do? Trot to the sidelines. And you know what that allowed Jason Garrett to do? Call the play.
Oh, so now Jason Garrett called that play.
You want to bet on it?
Hold on.
You want to bet on it? He's been a coordinator his whole life.
So I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. Everything that goes well, Kellen Moore is doing an excellent job.
Yeah.
But the moment that the play doesn't go well, Jason Garrett called it.
I didn't think Kellen Moore was very good last night.
Skip, so who was calling those plays when Dak threw for 400?
Okay.
I just want to know who was calling the plays then.
Listen, he's the head coach, and I've told you many times before, going back to the days I was with Jimmy Johnson, any head coach I've ever been around, they have veto.
Absolutely.
And especially if timeout gets called, and this is the play of the game, 4th and 5.
Right.
Trust me, the head coach is going to call that play or at least say, let's do this with it. Let you call the number of it, but I want this to happen. I want the ball to go to Zeke. So after the game...
Hold on, Skip. Let's go on. Wait a minute now. You want the people at home to believe that Jason Garrett says, okay, Kellen Moore, whatever you call, but I want you to throw the ball to Zeke. Forget Amari Cooper. Forget Michael Gallup. Forget Randall Cobb.
Because what did I see? What did I hear after the game? They all said, well, Jason Garrett suggested it was an RPO. Can we see this play one more time?
Yeah.
Tell me how much run option you see in this play, please. This is the biggest bunch of malarkey. That's RPO. Do you see RPO? Shannon Sharpe, you're a Hall of Famer. Help me out. Do you see any run option on that play?
Yeah.
Baloney.
Dak can use
They try to, just BS us. That's not. It was called to Zeke. He's primary. It was for Gallup to clear and Zeke on a linebacker to outcut.
Hold on.
Okay? And what do you see from Zeke? Do you see his ability to separate from Eric Kendricks at that point?
I mean, Kendrick knows the likelihood of them running Zeke on a 4th and 4, 4th and 5, Skip, up the field on something deep is not very good. So I play by option.
Okay.
I'm thinking he's going to the sticks and break it out.
So who's primary on that play? It's Zeke. He was looking at Zeke the whole way. It was designed to go to Zeke. There is no option for Dak to run that football. It's not a rollout play. It's just to Zeke. That's what, and I will bet I'll bet you a week's paycheck that Jason Garrett called that play.
Skip,
want to bet?
I know I do not want to bet, but this is what I will tell you. Watching the Vikings defense closely, it appeared to me, and someone was going to have to correct me because I believe I'm right. They said, we will not let Zeke Elliott run the football, and we will live with any results that happen after that. Because if you look at it, Skip, Harrison Smith made a living playing at the line of scrimmage.
All right,
so what they're telling you, Skip, we're not letting Zeke, Skip, even on the 2nd and 2 and the 3rd and 2, for them to get in the backfield that quick, they're playing run. I don't care.
If my quarterback throws it 3 straight plays when you get it 2nd and 2, you lose that game.
Well,
my quarterback's on fire, and Mike Zimmer would have looked wrong on that. You can go conventional and say, let's stop the run.
Yes.
But it's hard to stop my quarterback when he's on fire.
Skip, but here's the thing. When I go into a game plan, my game plan is this. I've made a conscious decision that I'm going to stop Zeke Elliott. If Dak Prescott throws for 300, 400 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns, and they win, Skip, I can live with that. But I'm not letting Zeke get off. They made a decision not to let Zeke get off.
Let me tell you what I could live with. If you put the ball in number 4's hands on the next 3 plays, 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, 4th and 5, I can live with it. Then I just say, Shannon, you got me. Because I had my best player losing the football game or failing to win it.
Skip.
But that's not what happened. I didn't get to see him.
He's audible before. He checked out a play and threw the ball to Cobb up the seam.
Okay, so what?
Okay, so
there's
check
no
out.
audibling.
Hey.
He can't audible out of those calls.
Whoa, Skip.
This is the game on the line. And again, can I defend my defense? Look, I tweeted this at 14-0. Once again, it's yet another slow start. This team started fast against one team and one team only. It's because Doug Peterson guaranteed a victory at Jerry World on that Sunday night.
Yes.
And the point was they came out on fire to start the game. Mm-hmm. For some reason, they have gone stale on Jason Garrett's voice. Jason Garrett couldn't motivate a rodeo bull to come out of the chute. Seriously. Because in the end, they come out flat every time. And this is Minnesota. This is a really good football team.
The first 3 weeks, they was out the gate quick.
Okay, but they were not out of the gate quick. They were not. They fell behind two of those teams.
Skip, they blew the doors off the Giants.
Okay, but they fell behind them. They fell behind both of those.
So, no, Skip, so in other words...
The only team they didn't fall behind was Miami, and that's when they were hapless.
But let me ask you a question. So, in other words, you believe that the Cowboys, they get the ball first, should just march right down the field and score a touchdown?
Every once in a while. I'd like to see it. Yeah. Well, tell me when. Against Miami and Philadelphia is the only time I saw it.
Skip. But see, the problem that I have is that Jason Garrett gets none of the credit, but all the blame. Okay, everybody talks about how good Chris Richard and Rod Marinelli is doing with the defense.
Well, they're not. You haven't heard it from me. Because the problem is how slowly the defense starts. And I tweeted this at 14, and I'll get to that in just a second. At 14-0, I tweeted, I'll be surprised if the Cowboys win this game because the Vikings are too good on defense. No. And Kirk Cousins, if you let him get in an early comfort zone, is just good enough that he can front run.
He outplayed your quarterback.
He did not.
I played it.
Okay, you want to bet? Okay, listen. What was the QBR? 88-68.
Well, I don't do QBR.
You did not outplay my quarterback threw a party last night. That was a parade.
You remember?
Just stop it. You sound foolish.
Let me finish. You remember on Thanksgiving when Kirk Cousins threw for 448? He outplayed your quarterback, but you said your quarterback won. So now you change it.
My quarterback scored 4 touchdowns in the red zone.
How many did Kirk score in the red zone yesterday?
He went 2 for 5 on Thanksgiving.
No, I ain't talking about Thanksgiving. I'm talking about yesterday.
He cashed.
Okay, then. So he outplayed your guy.
Okay, I would give you that if my quarterback hadn't had the ball taken out of his hands.
Stop it, Skip. Don't do that.
Stop it.
Don't do that.
Well, what do you mean, don't do it? I just showed. He went 83 yards from the 6 to the 11, and all of a sudden they say, no, it's 21's game now. Are you kidding me?
83 yards
I'll never recover from that.
83 yards look good on his resume. But you know what else is on his resume? That L. Skip, just give the man, just give him credit. No, it's not.
And listen, the defense doesn't show up early because the 2 Dalvin Cook plays right away it's the early 3rd down, and he just flips it out, just flicks it out to Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
And there must, can we see this play? I think there are like 7 missed tackles on this play, and I just said they're not ready to play. Here it is. He just flicks it out. And Sean Lee misses. Way to go, Sean. And then miss, and face mask. They finally got him down with his face mask.
Yeah.
Okay, that's when the tone is not set. You're at home and you let him loose like that. And
they didn't let him. He broke loose.
No, well, whatever. You know, I've seen him tackled before, and he could be tackled again. But nobody was. That's when you're not ready to play.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
And then let's see the other play. 2nd touchdown drive. They throw the screen, but it's not just a screen pass. It's like as far a screen pass as you'll ever see. He throws it completely back across the field. And let's see how many missed tackles. 1.
Oh, you expected? Did you expect?
He's not going to get there.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so that sets up the 2nd touchdown. And if you're going to let Minnesota come into your house and go up 14-0 on your defense, you're not going to win that game. Except for my quarterback, he willed them back in ways I never could have imagined.
But let me ask you a question. He's willing them back. Who got the ball first? Did Minnesota or Dallas get it? So what did Dallas do with their first possession?
That's a very good question.
What did they do with their second possession?
Okay, let me tell you what they did with the first one.
Okay.
It gets to third. My quarterback drove into Minnesota territory all 3 times with the first 3 drives. And it gets to 3rd and 6 at the 39, Minnesota 39. And they come with an all-out blitz. And nobody got blocked. And he's got 2 rushers right in his face and tried to get it to Randall Cobb, and it didn't get there. Okay, so that's the first one. But he drove them very well. They moved the ball like crazy. Second possession. It's 3rd and 6 at the Minnesota 48, and he hits Jason Witten right in the hands for a first down. Hits him right there, and he cold dropped it. He just flat out dropped it. Hit him right in the hands. I'm sorry, you got to catch that. Don't put that on my quarterback. And then the third one is 3rd and 4 at the Minnesota 40. So all 3 times he crosses midfield with the football, and Amari slips coming out of his break, and the kid Hughes almost intercepted it because he threw it to where the break was.
That should have been a pick six.
I know, but it's not Dak's fault. Amari his feet go completely out
keep
from
your
under.
feet. Hold on.
Okay.
The best route runner with the sweetest feet falling down on the route. I'm just saying, those are 3 drives into Minnesota territory in which you're about to at least get a field goal, and those things happen. No, Skip.
Okay.
That's football.
Yeah. Well,
things happen.
Well, drops happen.
Okay.
Slips happen. I guess so. Maybe it just wasn't your night.
No, it was your night. The better team won.
Well, last night the better team won.
Okay, then.
You know what? They are better because their defense is better.
I like that.
And obviously,
I like the sound of it.
Both the running backs are better.
Stop it. Well, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
No, I'm not.
Now you
Good
out
way
on
to
Zeke.
start the show.
Well, how could I not be? I've been telling you this all year. Did I
Hold on.
I thought maybe for one night Zeke would take the challenge and say, that guy's leading the league in rushing. I'm going to show you. And you know what? He's not capable. Not capable.
No, Skip. No. When I was going up against another tight end, it wasn't my job to take the challenge. It was my defense job to hold his butt down. Tell your defense, D-Law doing all that yakking. Remember? He talking about all that to Peterson. He talking to everybody. Do that to Dalvin.
Oh, it's a good weekend for Minnesota football all around. I woke up so happy today. I'm sorry that it's been hard for some others.
No mercy.
Are you ready for what's ahead? You can't always predict the future, but you can game plan for it. Generations of families and businesses have harnessed the power of Pacific to help them reach their unique goals. Whether you need to save enough money to meet your needs, ensure your family is protected, or make sure you don't run out of money, Pacific Life has a variety of financial solutions that can help. Pacific Life counts more than half of the 100 largest U.S. companies as its clients and has been named one of the 2019 World's Most Ethical Companies by the Ethisphere Institute, protecting what matters most to people for 150 years and counting. That's the power of Pacific. Ask a financial professional about how Pacific Life can help you game plan for your future, or visit www.pacificlife.com.
No mercy.
So Lamar Jackson continues to look like an MVP frontrunner. In a blowout win against the Bengals, Lamar had his second game with a perfect passer rating this season. He's only the second player, along with Ben Roethlisberger, to have 2 such games in 1 year. Lamar had 4 total touchdowns yesterday, including a dazzling 47-yard run that left teammate Mark Ingram saying it was, quote, the craziest thing I've witnessed on the field. Yeah, that thing looked good. Shannon, is Lamar the MVP?
He's playing unbelievable. And I think he's better than even Baltimore thought he would be, especially at this point, Skip. And I don't think anybody ever questioned his running ability. We know he's dynamic with his legs, but could he progress? Could his legs, if his arm could be half as good as his legs, Skip, they thought they had something. Well, his arm had superseded what they thought it would be, especially at this point. Given that, saying all of that, I still have Russell Wilson in front.
Wow.
Now, we're going to find out a lot tonight. Russell's on the road in San Francisco. We think San Francisco is the real deal, Skip, especially defensively, and they've been better offensively since they added Emmanuel Sanders. Skip, look, Russ has 22 touchdown passes, 3 more than anyone else, and he only has 1 interception for a 7-2 ball club. Russ has higher QBR, completion percentage, yards per attempt, touchdown passes, and total touchdowns. And we say we like our guys to be big, be great in big moments. In games in which they've needed Russ the most, 6-1, Skip, he has 20 touchdowns. 1-score game, 20 touchdowns, 0 picks. Lamar Jackson is close. Skip, when you really look at it, Skip, you look at this dynamic. The MVP quarterbacks and MVP candidates, and I'm just going to go top 5. I got Russ at 1. I got Lamar Jackson at 2. I got C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey at 3. I got Deshaun Watson at 4. Pat Mahomes might be 5. You notice anything, Skip? The quarterbacks are black and the running back is white. When the last time we saw a white running back, Skip, in the MVP discussion? Well, that's what.
Maybe never.
Maybe John Riggins way back in the 70s, Skip. But just goes to show you, Skip. But Lamar Jackson has been unbelievable. And I believe if the voters were to vote today, there are 50 men and women that vote. Skip, I believe if they were to vote today, this would probably be the closest MVP voting since they've been doing this. But Lamar Jackson has been unbelievable. 2 perfect quarterback ratings, but I'm still going to give a slight nod. It's neck and neck. It's neck and neck. A lot's going to be said tonight. Russell goes out there and throws another 4 touchdowns. They go on the road and beat San Francisco, which is the #1 team in the NFC. I think Russ will be firmly, securely back in first place. But right now, I still got him in first, but it's close. It's very close.
I will give you this. Russell Wilson gets his at-bat tonight.
Fair.
Lamar got his yesterday, albeit against a winless Bengals team, but it is a rival, and it was on the road.
And you keep them winless.
And it was coming off dethroning 8-0 New England, right?
Yep.
And it was the biggest swing of 8-0 to 0-8, so it would have been one of the biggest upsets in NFL history, and it was the classic trap game because they are a division rival.
Correct.
And what I loved about this kid was he just said, no, not today.
Jumped on him early.
Took it right over in ways my Cowboys did not take over.
Let that go.
Yep.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yep. And I had it on, and I kept looking up, and I kept going like this, like, what? He did that? This young man is revolutionizing that position because this young man has become the best breakaway running back in the game.
He's unbelievable.
In the game.
He's unbelievable.
And this young man continues to get better and better and better throwing the football because he just flicks bullets. It's like the quickest little flick release.
Right.
And again, I'll be the first to admit, it doesn't look the prettiest, but it comes out so sweet and fast and hot. And he has underrated velocity because he's just flicking bullets, man.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, that's really good.
That's very good.
And when you combine the fact that when he gets in the open field, he's just, there's nobody like him.
Skip, he get a step on that touchdown run. We saw it, Skip. He faked it, and he came around. When he stepped through the line of scrimmage, you like, he got a chance. Nobody else you said that about except Michael Vick. He's the only guy since Vick, Skip. He gets us at the quarterback position. He's out the gate.
Okay, and it's even beyond Dalvin Cook escaping, getting loose, right? Because the acceleration with power.
Yes.
Because he's a big kid now. You know, he runs with force.
Right.
And when you're that big and that fast and you can spin move 2 guys in the secondary.
He's running full speed. He stops
speed and you spin move? Are you kidding me?
That's mad. That's something you...
Hey, that's just
video
like,
game.
that is... Never seen that before, right? And again, Colin Kaepernick at his peak, he could really fly, but he's just straight ahead.
Inline speed,
Inline. And when he got loose, he was gone because he was a long strider.
Right.
This kid's like a real live running back who can really throw the football. And here's what I also love about him. He's in total command of that offense.
Right.
His vision, his anticipation, his decision-making is pretty close to flawless.
Yes.
This is hard. He's only in his second year.
Only second
year. Do you
year.
see many bad decisions, if any?
No.
Do you see much inaccuracy? I don't see much.
Right.
Maybe little bits and pieces.
16, 17 games into his career. That's where he is. He started, I think, 8 games last year and now 8 or 9 this year.
I know it was just the Bengals, but what he did yesterday, it's never been done before.
No.
Because he had the he tied for the highest passer rating ever, and he tied for the highest QBR ever with 4 guys, including Tom Brady, back in, I think it was 07, or it was way back, beginning of QBR. But the point is, his game yesterday was off the charts in both throwing and running. And again, if you look back at and you say, okay, where can we, quote unquote, nitpick his credentials so far? Okay, he did lose to Baker Mayfield head-to-head at home.
Yes. Sure.
It was 40-25. He played very well. He did throw 2 picks in that game, but he threw 3 touchdown passes, and he ran for 9 times for 66 yards, which is pretty great. Baker played his one and only really good game of the year.
Played out of his mind.
Yep. He was pretty good yesterday, but he wasn't as good as he was that one. And that was the day Baker said, wait a second, I'm still the king of my draft class.
Right.
Well, you've been making this point for a couple of weeks, and now I'm starting to think, I think Lamar is edging ahead as the best quarterback in this draft class.
Yeah,
right?
Skip, he was phenomenal. I mean, there's no other way around it because, like I said, we expected him to be able to run like this. But I don't think we expected him to be able to pass the football like this, especially in his second year. And I go back, Skip, Ozzie Newsome, who's in charge, he drafted the kid. He traded back into the first round to get this kid. John Harbaugh says, man, I'm tired of trying to find a 6'4", prototypical drop-back quarterback. How about we find a guy that's special, we develop a system around him and see what they can do with it? Well, they got the perfect guy, Skip. If you're designing a guy for a special type of offense, in every quarterback, I don't care who he is, past or present, the offense was tailored. It might have been an offense, but you tailor it to his skill sets. Well, Greg Roman, who he hired, who was on his staff last year, they ended up firing Marty Morningwig because Greg Roman has success. Took a team to a Super Bowl with a quarterback with a similar skill set to what Lamar Jackson has. And what they've been able to do, Skip, I mean, when you can run the football like they run it, so you got to account for that. And then all of a sudden you think he's going to run it, he pops up and Hollywood Brown is streaking down the field. David Andrews, who is his favorite target, another 2-touchdown day. Skip, this kid is unbelievable. This kid is unbelievable. And if they thought, listen, even Ozzie, John Harbaugh, Greg Roman, even Steve Bisciotti, who owned the Ravens, if they tell you they thought this kid would be an MVP in the second year, they're lying. They're lying.
That is true.
Nobody saw this coming. Yeah, we thought he could be good if his arm ever got caught up with his legs. But an MVP going into his second year after, what, 16, 17 starts? No way, no how.
Okay. Right now, he's my MVP, just because he's taken a team that I didn't see coming, and he has lifted it up on his shoulders, and now they're just a game back of New England.
He did go to Seattle and beat Russell head-to-head.
Did do it.
That happened.
He lost to Mahomes head-to-head, but again, in both those games, the Baker and the Mahomes game, he played very well.
He played well.
It's up to his, like, if the defense is going to give up 40 at home, you're going to have a hard time winning that game.
You're probably going to lose that game.
Probably going to lose that one. But I want to remind everyone, he leads quarterbacks in rushing with 702 yards.
Oh, he'll get 1,000.
Second on that list is Kyler at 311. Okay? So he is...
he's about 400.
Yeah, more than double them. And I also want to make the point, speaking of black-white evolution, these two young quarterbacks, including Kyler, they're both doing extraordinary things. Kyler had an extraordinary game yesterday. He threw 3 touchdown passes to Christian Kirk against that hellacious Tampa rush on the road at Tampa, and he's ducking and dodging all day. And he has, again, is he a little better thrower of the football than Lamar?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think so, but Lamar's starting to get in that realm of, wait a second, maybe he's just that good. But what I love about both these young quarterbacks, what's Kyler's hobby off the field? He's a chess player. I know they said that last night on the telecast on NBC about Amari's a chess player, Amari Cooper. But Kyler is a chess player from age 14 on. And
so he's a thinker.
He is a deep thinker, and he is operating and making decisions way beyond his years. So is Lamar. They're completely in control of an offense that it's hard this young because, again, Lamar didn't start the whole year. You know, like he's still a very young quarterback.
And now, Skip, we've seen so many guys that have a Kyler Murray, have the Lamar Jackson skill set, but people said, well, that offense, my offense is this, so I need to drop back. As opposed to Cliff Kingsbury says, I'm going to tailor my offense to him.
He did.
John Harbaugh says, my offense is tailored around him. So just think, when you get a head coach that says, you know what, this might not be the offense. Skip, even RG3, look at Kyle Shanahan's offense in San Francisco and look at it when he had RG3. What good coaches can do is that they can conform. Well, this guy has a skill set. Instead of throwing him out and says, well, I don't need this, I can find ways to use him. RG3 was Offensive Rookie of the Year. They won the division, and he wanted to change. Lamar Jackson said, I run the football. I'm going to run the football, but I can be a thrower of the football also. Kyler has kind of shied away from running. He doesn't want to run. And
he had one big run yesterday, and I would like to see more of that.
He can get out now.
He can get out. But, again, he set the rookie record yesterday for consecutive passes without an interception. And he finally threw one late, but it was desperate. He was just trying to make a play because they were trying to win another game on the road. they are in just about every game.
Right.
And you and I both agree they're not very good.
They're not very good.
So
if they get an offensive line.
Yep, he's lifting that team the way Lamar has really elevated in his second year, this team. So now Lamar is 4th in the league in QBR, which is just extraordinary. Again, I'll give you Russell as second to Dak, but still 4th. And Kyler has vaulted all the way up to 12th as a rookie. Hard to do. Right. Trust me, both these young men are doing things we have not seen before.
Nope.
It'd be interesting, too. Baltimore hosting Deshaun Watson this week as well. So that one,
that's another
good to watch. But yeah, he's doing video game-like things. No mercy. Let's go back to Minnesota's win, shall we? The smile all day on my face. Kirk Cousins led the Vikings to a 28-24 win last night over the Cowboys. The Minnesota QB had 220 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. After the game, Cousins said he relied on his teammates and was just part of the big victory for his team. The win was Cousins' first against the Cowboys since the 2015 season when he was still with the Redskins. And yeah, Skip, I know you know that one. Shannon, what letter grade would you give Cousins?
He gets an A because he carried out the game plan perfectly. You can't ask any more of Kirk Cousins. And I felt if they can run the football, and they ran it to the tune of 36 times for $153, 4.3 a carry. And then allow him to play action. Because, Skip, he's very good at play action. They did a great job of slowing the pass rush down by running screens, by running a lot of role plays. So now they start one way, and here they come back the other way. The defense got to start and start and try and chase him down. He made plays in the red zone. If they kick field goals, Skip, they lose this game. It doesn't matter. You go up and down the field. If you kick field goals, normally when you kick field goals, you kick threes, you lose. You get tubs, you win. And he got there, he cashed in. And look, the Vikings don't need Cousins to throw for 400 yards, Skip. They just need him not to put the ball in harm's way. They're good enough to be able to run the football, minimize Cousins' ability to put the ball in harm's way. They play good enough defense. They're not great. Their secondary is not nothing to write home about. You're like, whoa, man, they loaded that. No. But they can get after you now. Now, they put pressure on Dak. That's a good offensive line, Skip. Collins and Ty Smith and Martin and Frederick.
I don't know. They don't play that way all the time.
Not all the time. Not all the time. But that's a fearsome foursome, Skip. I mean, they proper people leaders. That's what they call their front line. But they can get after the quarterback. Hunter and Griffin, those guys can chase the quarterback. They're good. But, Skip, on 3rd down, he converted 7 of them with his arms. It was 9 of 14, and he threw the ball exceptional. So when you go on the road, we're going to protect the football. Skip, there's not a whole lot of guesswork. Because like I said, I know offensive, the guy that's in charge now, he doesn't call the plays, Garrett Kubiak. Skip, I know. He's like, there's not a whole lot of checks. Because, Skip, you don't want a whole lot of pre-snap penalties. You don't want any false starts. You don't want to, I didn't hear, what did he check it to? You see, they get up to the line of scrimmage, they run the play. Whatever we call, we're going to run. And we're probably going to go on first down. Because you don't be trying to draw them out, all that, Skip. No. We don't want to get the crowd into it. We want to keep the crowd out of it. Skip, you got to give him an A because of the way he executed the game plan. Everything Mike Zimmer asked him to do, he did it, and he did it with flying colors. So I'm going to give him an A.
You don't have to give him an A.
You got to.
I'm going to give him a B.
Why you going to give him a B? He won.
The best thing he did was what he didn't do. He didn't turn the ball over. I will give you that. Otherwise, not impressed.
What?
His leading receiver by more than double was the running back.
Yes.
So there's a lot of screen passing.
Yes.
There's a lot of little check downs.
Yes.
7 catches for 86 yards went to Dalvin Cook.
Yes.
And he had by far the best running back on the field. Again, this game to me boiled down to Minnesota had Dalvin Cook and Dallas did not have Dalvin Cook. It was as simple as that. But again, he caught 86 yards worth of passes and he ran for 97. It's hard to beat that. And again, I give you Gary Kubiak scheming. They put him in exactly the right places not to do the worst thing.
Yep.
And I agree with you. It didn't look like the same Kirk Cousins I used to
that you used to love.
I used to love to play against him because he went 1-6 against my Dallas Cowboys, arch rivals, and beat only Kellen Moore, who was last night's offensive coordinator. Dak was 4-0 against him. But again, he didn't have Dalvin Cook in Washington.
No.
He didn't have that defense in Washington. He didn't even have Rudolph in Washington because Rudolph is a big, strong man.
Well, he had Reed, but Reed couldn't couldn't stay healthy. He's out again, Skip, with a concussion issue, so his career is in jeopardy.
And yet Rudolph said after the game that he wasn't sure. He said, I'm going to have to ask Kirk, was he trying to throw it away on the one-handed catch play? Because it might have been the old Joe Montana, I'm trying to throw it in the third row, and Dwight...
The catch. Old Candlestick Park,
looked good, though.
Okay, it looked good, and he did some kind of
weird... And he dropped it. You saw that?
He did a Mahomes pirouette, you know?
That's what Mahomes... That's his impact on the game.
Maybe.
He got first cousins throwing jump TD passes.
Yeah. Well, I think he might have been trying to jump and throw it in the first row, at least, and Rudolph one hand caught it. And I give you that, and he hit him another couple times for big plays for the two-point conversion.
Yeah. Oh, you see him? He moused the Woozier.
Oh, yeah.
And then spin the ball in front of him and say, you got what?
What's a Woozier? Like 5'11"? I think he's 5'11".
We'll get out of there. Get from up under the rim.
I loved it.
Hold on.
He looked like he was half a Rudolph.
Skip, you can't get caught up under the rim when somebody flushes on you and says, well, I'm only 6'3". No.
Yeah. I think that would have been a Jeff Heath play, but he got hurt in the first quarter and was gone for the rest of the game. So Awuzie winds up on Rudolph. How tall is Rudolph? 6'6"?
Huge.
You know, he is a huge man. He is a towering...
Yeah. Had his elbow on his head.
Yep. Okay, I will give you that. So, what did I see from Kirk Cousins? I saw one downfield completion the whole night. And how did it happen? It was to Diggs, and it was a crucial play because my quarterback had just brought them back to 14-all. There's not much time left in the first half. And what happens if we could see this? He just throws it. I don't know what he did. He just threw a duck. It was like a Kirk Cousins duck, and it was so bad and so short. This wasn't even a back shoulder attempt. This is just a bad throw, and Diggs comes all the way back behind the DB to catch it off the carpet. And at first they ruled it incomplete. You
know that man caught the ball, and Diggs looked at him. You know I caught it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And another Woozy play.
Oh, that's old Woozy. He a doozy.
And Woozy doozied all over him. He was in perfect position, and Diggs just shoved him aside and went back for the ball. And if you want to argue that was a great throw by Kirk Cousins, be my guest. Because that was his only downfield pass of the whole night, which is why I'm going to give him a B.
No, Skip.
Because I saw him against, who do we see him? Green Bay or Philly. How about Philly?
Right.
He was just throwing rocket bombs, right?
But the difference is, Skip, he was at home. He could control the crowd as opposed to being on the road. So what you want to do when you're on the road, you go to Kansas City, you go to Pittsburgh, where they can get after the quarterback. The one thing you don't want to do is get caught with the ball in your hand. And too many teams, Skip, they make the mistake. Oh, they're getting all this. We're going to have all these checks, and we'll have all these audibles and spread the formation. If you see late in the ball game, they went 22 personnel. Too tight running back. Like, we can run the ball down your throat. Now what you going to do about it?
They did.
Did it to them.
Yeah, and it reminded me a little bit of the playoff game out here at the Coliseum. The Rams just said, we're just going to run it down your throat. And it hid Jared Goff in that game, but he was not hidden in the Super Bowl, and he was not hidden at Pittsburgh yesterday because he is getting exposed. But when they could run all over my defense in the playoff game right out of the blocks, right?
Yes.
Remember what happened?
What the thing is, Skip, if you don't believe the quarterback is as good as people are projecting him to be, you take away his run. And what you've seen from Todd Gurley, and Todd doesn't look like the same guy, the Rams can't run the ball with conviction like they could. You remember Todd Gurley was leading the league in rushing, and then he came up with this injury, and they brought in C.J. Anderson. What was happening is they can't run the football. So now teams are like, no, we want Jared Goff to have the ball. We're just not going to let Todd Gurley run the football. So last night, Dallas did not take Dalvin Cook or the running game away. So Kirk didn't have to force the ball down the field. Skip, if you look at it, you see Dalvin Cook had 7 catches. Irv Smith, the second tight end, had 5 catches. Kyle Rudolph had 4 catches.
Everything just dink and dunk underneath.
Right.
Well, okay, we'll give you that. You can have 6 yards. You can have 6 yards.
Easy throws. He doesn't have to put the ball in harm's way, and we come out of here with a victory. They feeling real good about themselves.
Yeah. So he threw for a grand total, Kirk Cousins did, of 220 yards. But wait a second, 86 goes to the running back.
34 came from running back.
27 goes on the duck pass to Diggs, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like he threw for just over 100 yards. He didn't do much damage.
That's what you mean.
But the point is on Kirk Cousins, when you have him is when you jump out 14-0 and you dictate to him. That's when he turns into the underconfident overachiever.
Well, they never put him in. They never put him in a situation, Skip. They got no pressure to him early. Now, if you can get to him early, Skip, even if you don't jump out to a big lead, you get to him and you hit him early a couple of times. It's hard for him to fight through it like we've seen other quarterbacks fight through it. But they let him get comfortable.
He has much of a quarterback backbone because we saw again and again he would unravel at Washington over the last 2 years. He's often unraveled against good teams, plus 500 teams. He hadn't beaten one.
Right, he was like 2 and something. He's like 2-8.
Well, I think it's worse than that, actually.
It was pretty bad.
He's like, he might be 2. Yeah, he might be 2-8 because he's won like 12 games total. But most of the games have come against 5.
Last 2 years, Minnesota was 0-9-1 against teams above 500.
Right.
Okay, so if you jump out and put him in a jeopardy position where he's got to take the game over, if you, so to speak, put the ball in his hands, okay.
Well, that's what you got to do. You got to take Dalvin Cook away. You got to put them in a situation, Skip, where if you run the ball, you're going to run out of time trying to catch up. We need you just to throw. Well, they didn't put him in that situation because now all of a sudden you let them get a 14-0 lead. So now we can still run the ball and Skip, and we can still throw the screens because they ran the screen all night. I mean, a team that run this many screens in a ball game, maybe 1 or 2, but they might have had 4.
And then it got so bad that Jalen Smith actually had to hold Dalvin on one screen because he's like, I got to tackle you before you catch the ball because that's the only way we can stop you.
But the thing of what makes Dallas, Skip, is that when you have a defensive line like Dallas that will track the football, you use that against them. They're hyper-aggressive, ultra-aggressive. So they're going to chase the football. So when the quarterback goes one way, here they come. And guess what? Cousins just roll up, boom, back the other way. And
so if you told me that contributed to the quarterback getting sacked 6 times, I'd say, okay, I'll live with that.
Right.
Robert Quinn got him once, and that's it.
That's it. And that was a block. That was a missed assignment. I don't know what Reef was thinking. Hold on, dude, you're going to turn down and turn that guy loose?
Correct. So in the end, he won. So now he's 1-4 against Dak Prescott. And if Dak Prescott's coach had kept the ball,
don't do that, Skip. Don't do this.
It would still be 0-5.
Why are you doing this to this man? Let this man have his moment.
Well, my man didn't have his.
Hey, he didn't because Kirk beat him, and I told you what's going to happen.
No, Jason Garrett.
Don't do this, Skip. See, you see what you do? You see what you do, Skip? Why do you do that all the time? When the Cowboys, instead of just saying, you know what, we lost. We lost to a better team last night.
I told you. No. I overrated my defense. I way overrated my running back.
You overrated your offense also.
I underrated my quarterback.
No, you didn't overrate him. He what I thought he had. Hey, good when he get behind. Let me ask you a question. How was he looking when he had 0-0? How did he look when he said nothing? It wasn't until he got behind.
I told you, Jason Witten dropped a pass. Amari Cooper fell down on a route.
Hold on.
3rd downs.
First cousin doing this without feeling. I know feeling.
I know. You hadn't even brought it up.
Adam Thielen.
You know what? I actually think that was a break for him because I think it gives him too many options where his brain explodes. Like, do I throw it to him or do I throw it to him? I don't know. Who do I throw? Which one do I want to keep happy?
Whichever one was open.
It's like an Odell Jarvis thing in Cleveland.
Just imagine, Skip. Just imagine if Amari hadn't played last night, the kind of shape y'all would have been in.
Well, then there's no way.
And then no first cousin did that.
Bottom line, just for the viewers at home, Dak Prescott had a QBR of 88 in this game. Kirk Cousins had a 68 in this game.
And Dak came to my restaurant this morning and got Bananas Foster's Ale. Yeah.
Quick
so
check-in.
Dak out QBR'd him by 20 points.
He lost the game. Skip, why you do that? So let me ask you a question. Would you rather have a guy throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns or a guy that throws for 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, and catch that L?
That's an incomplete scenario because if the quarterback got the ball in his hands for the last 3 plays, it mattered.
He did. He had the ball in his hand the first 3 drives of the game and got 0.
Drop, fall down. Okay, thank you.
Good news.
Cousins outplayed it. We just leave it at that.
Outplayed him.
Are you kidding me?
In prime time.
It wasn't even close.
Finally got it done. You know what? I appreciate the B, though, Skip. I thought that was better than what I expected. I am going to go with A++. No mercy. Dak Prescott had to put the offense on his back last night with Ezekiel Elliott being held to under 2.5 yards a carry against the Vikings. Dak racked up just under 400 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns. Dak's QBR was 87.5, but it wasn't enough as the Cowboys came up short, 28-24. So, Shannon, what letter grade would you give Dak from last night's performance?
Skip, I'm gonna surprise you, Skip.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very kind to Dak. I'm gonna give him a B. Because I thought he played well. I thought he made some great throws. The touchdown to Randall Cobb, the touchdown on the move to Amari, the throws that he was making to Amari, even though Hughes quit on some of those plays. Dak was throwing the ball unbelievable last night. This might be the best game that I've seen him just throw the football. No luck. Everything was like perfect for him. He was 9 of 15 on 3rd down, but I docked him because he was over. on 4th down. I docked him because he got 0 points on his first 3 drives. I docked him because he allowed his team to fall behind 14 points in the first quarter.
He allowed?
Is he not the quarterback?
Wait, does he play safety?
Whoa. He plays quarterback, which means he's allowed to drive his team into the end zone.
Yeah.
He drove into Minnesota territory 3 times.
Hold on.
3 times.
If I'm not mistaken.
All 3 times on the first 3. Yep.
Let me see. I played a lot of years.
Yep.
Now, the end zone is normally like 10 yards deep.
Yep.
So you want the end zone to be 40 yards deep? Because if he drove them there, they got touchdowns. And they didn't get any.
Did Jason Witten drop the ball on the first down?
Skip. We're not finna make this about Jason Witten.
Okay.
We're not finna make this about Jason Witten.
I got to tell you.
We're going to make this about Dak Prescott.
a little long in the tooth last
Stop. Oh, there you go.
Good honesty.
Yeah.
I can't believe you, man.
He had his moments.
At some point in time, it's okay to say, you know what? My quarterback didn't get it done. He started out slow. He picked it up in the middle, but he just didn't get it done. You can't keep placing blame. Everybody gets blamed when the Cowboys lose except Dak because you base everything on QBR. At the end of the day, he can have a 99 QBR, but if he doesn't make the playoffs or don't win the Super Bowl, what good is that? You want dubs or you want high QBR? Okay, with that being said, Skip Bayless, again, I docked him for the slow start, first 3 drives, 0 points. They fell behind 14-0 in the first quarter. That's on your quarterback. And he didn't make the 2 plays and late in the ball game. That's on your quarterback.
Oh, he
but
didn't
because he threw the ball so well, he was so accurate, I'm going to give him a B.
You had to give him a B because you had no choice this time because
you
knew he deserved an A.
No, he didn't.
You said,
no, he didn't deserve it.
I'll go B.
Skip, you can't lose and get an A.
I agree.
How you lose and get an A?
Possible.
You get 5 answers wrong and you want the teacher to give you 100?
Doesn't
So
work.
I want the people at home to realize Dak Prescott last night had a QBR of 88. That was the second best of the whole NFL weekend to Lamar Jackson, who had a near-perfect QBR. And that 88 vaulted Dak Prescott back into #1 in the whole NFL in QBR. Thank you very much. He did convert 9 of 15 third downs last night, and they were hard ones, a bunch of them. It was like, what? 3rd and 14, 12, 12, 8, 7, 6, and then 3 little ones, 3, 2, and 2, but he converted all those. His running back converted none of them. His running back had 0 first downs, and the longest run by any Dallas Cowboy was not by 21. It was by Tavon Austin on a sweep. He went for 7 yards. That was the longest Cowboy run.
Where's that great running back Pollard?
Yeah.
Where he been?
He got 1 shot last night.
And what did he get?
Nowhere. Well, maybe they should have played him a lot more.
Oh, really?
Yeah, maybe, because I don't know. He's got some burst to him. My other guy, he's lost his burst.
Don't do that.
Is that jersey still in the trash there?
Yep.
Don't do that.
I can't
believe you.
It might have been over-emotional, overreaction, but I did it.
Oh,
you can see Hazel is behind me in the video.
That.
Hazel is trying to stop me. Sometimes she'll bite my ankles and try to pull me back. She said, don't do it. Don't do it. And I said, no, I'm out of my mind.
You emotional?
Over it.
You overreacted?
Yeah, well.
Skip Bayless is those 2 things?
So back to my quarterback. So he threw for almost 400 yards last night, and I'm going to give him for that performance an A-. A- because the one throw that bothered me the most was you said, well, they did have the ball 3 times and punted 3 times. It's the first third down. It's 3rd and 6 from the Minnesota 39-yard line. And it's a max blitz. They are all coming, and Harrison Smith gets loose. And he is, you want to talk about a football player?
Oh, yeah.
He can really play. And Dak's got people all up in his face, and he short-armed it to Randall Cobb. It bounced on the turf where he caught it on the bounce. Okay, that was the one bad throw. I wish he'd just gotten the ball to Randall Cobb because he was open, and he was obviously the hot receiver.
He didn't want that hit in the mouth.
Yeah, so, boy, he can take hits in the mouth like nobody I've ever seen.
Not on that one, he didn't want it.
The next drive, it's 3rd and 6 at the Minnesota 48, and Jason Witten drops it. The next drive, they get it all the way to the Minnesota 40, and Amari slips coming out of his break, and the ball almost got picked, maybe even picked sixth by the kid Hughes, but he threw it right where Amari should have been, and he just fell down. That's not the quarterback's fault. So, again, I didn't get to see the quarterback finish the game because what he did at the end was extraordinary. They start when their final real drive of the game, 1st and 10 at the 6-yard line. He drives them 83 yards to 2nd and 2 at the 11, and Jason Garrett and/or Kellen Moore took the ball out of number 4's hands and put it in 21's hands. And it wrecked the game. It wrecked maybe the season. It put you in the catbird seat because number 4 didn't get to finish the game. And even on the play called, I'm assuming by Jason Garrett, on the 4th down play, well, they had a timeout. Minnesota, that was the play of the game. Mike Zimmer called time before 4th down because Dak wanted to go fast. And they're lined up, ready to go. And then he gets to dictate what the play is. Right?
Yeah.
And instead, Mike Zimmer says, nope, we're not ready. And over to the sideline trots Dak Prescott, and guess who got involved? Jason Garrett.
Skip, you're surmising that he got involved.
Coach clap. For the first time all night, instead of just clapping, he actually had input.
You see, you know what you're doing? You're trying to poison the jury pool. That's what you're trying to do because blaming everything on Jason Garrett. But why did you give him credit in these victories? He only gets
blame. I didn't
blame.
give him any credit.
Okay, so why are you giving him blame?
I told you he just goes along for the ride.
He was along for the ride last night then.
So on the play called, it's a little out cut to Zeke in the flat on Eric Kendricks, the linebacker. And in the old days, the good old days, Zeke, he bursts out of that cut, and he's got 5 yards of separation. But in this case, he does not separate. Well, he didn't. Can we see it again? He did not separate. And Dak made a really sweet throw. It's right where it had to be, but Eric Kendricks beat Zeke to the football. Is that not a good throw?
Yes.
It's right on the button.
But Skip, here's the thing, Skip.
If Zeke is open, that works.
Here's the thing.
You know what? Randall Cobb was actually open on that, but again, the primary was
whoa. I'm glad you brought that to my attention because something happened at the end of the Green Bay Philly game. You remember he went to Valdez Scandling and the little guy slipped up the script.
Yeah, but that's to win the game.
Oh, what was that for?
Okay, but he wasn't in the end zone. It was just for a first down.
Oh, that's what you need. That's first down to keep the drive alive.
Yeah, but Darius Shepard's like over all alone in the end zone, saying, underhand it to me. I'm right here. It's win or lose.
But you said if your quarterback gets that first down, he's going to drive him in the end zone and score.
My quarterback is he will do whatever the coach tells him to do. He is the model quarterback who does what he's told to do.
How about that?
He was told to throw it to Zeke on that play.
He was not. Stop it.
Want a bet?
No, he was
not.
Want a bet? No, I don't want to bet.
Jason Garrett had the audacity after the game to say it was actually an RPO, run pass option. If you can see any run option in that play, help me. It's a straight drop back pass. Did he roll out?
Skip.
Was there any, I don't know, read option going on? Nope.
Here's the thing, what really good defensive players do, and this is sometimes why you can catch them. They will play the sticks. The likelihood of them running the running back on a seam or running the running back on a 7 route, which is a corner, on 4th and 5 is not very good. They're going to run him on an option. Either he's going to try to break across your face, but Kendrick played him inside out. You're not coming across my face. And then at the point he breaks out, Kendrick jets the ball.
Okay.
Perfect play. Skip, at some point you got to get
see any burst from 21 last night? No, did you? Help me out. You're the Hall of Famer. I didn't see any.
Not very much.
At some point in time, why would you give, the defensive guys get paid too.
Yeah.
Offensive guys don't
I got to give Harrison Smith credit for what really is the play of the game, and I have not yet brought it up because I just wanted to save it for right now. But really, the play of the game happens when the Cowboys are forced to take the field goal that makes it 28-24.
Right.
And what happened on that 3rd down play?
What happened?
What did Harrison Smith do in the end zone? Here's what he did. Watch this. Oh, he gets to knock down Jason Witten. No, you get to tackle him.
You know why did they call it? Because they called that bull jive early on Harrison Smith. You remember that one, Skip?
Oh, so you get to knock down Jason Witten so he can't run free and catch the pass.
Hold on. You remember on the 3rd down, Skip? With the 3rd down earlier, and they called that was not.
That was a foul, and that was a foul.
You know what?
Well, it was. It's blatant pass interference, and everybody's looking around like, seriously?
Wasn't nobody looking around.
Seriously?
Wasn't no one looking around but Jason. Jason pushed the man down.
That ends up being the play of the game because that forces a field goal that makes it 28-24.
Push off.
And obviously, when Jason Garrett then took the ball out of Dak's hands at the end of the next drive, that's ball game, 28-24. So congratulations, Shannon. Harrison Smith got away with near murder in the end zone, and Dak got the ball taken out of his hands.
Well, that's
simple
like
as that.
The Viola Davis TV show, How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh,
that did not happen.
Harrison Smith, this week's co-star, guest star, right?
And so that's the second time that's happened. Now, if you're on a 2-point play, you said the same thing. The guy against the Jets, you said he got away with murder.
You know what? Jason Witten suffers from like Shaq syndrome because he's so big and strong in the end zone. You can just bang into him all you want because remember Shaquille O'Neal back in like 2001? They just fouled him on every play. Of course, he's fouling them too, but you can't stop him because you can't send him in the free throw line. He's either going to score or not, right?
Skip, you need to stop this.
Okay. So
Dak does not deserve an A.
Now the league knows when Jason Witten is in the end zone on a short pass, just knock him down because nobody's going to call it.
I mean, Skip, he's only going to be on short passes. It's not like he's getting down the field in a hurry.
Well, there you go. So I just added up for you why it's an A-.
Hello.
And it was actually an extraordinary performance. And even the great Shannon Sharpe admitted, I don't know if I've ever seen Dak Prescott throw the ball any better, but you gave him a B.
I gave him a B. So what about these first 3 drives? He gets no points.
I just told you what happened on all 3 of them. And I docked him for the first one because it's an all-out blitz.
I gave him what about the interception he threw?
Yeah. Oh, you're going to dock him for that?
Yeah, you know.
So let me ask you a question. Would he have gotten a touchdown if he had thrown if Amari Cooper caught that ball?
Yeah.
Okay, then. So yeah.
So what are the odds that ball gets intercepted? 50-50?
Yeah.
No. Aaron Rodgers' balls doesn't get intercepted when he throw Hail Mary.
Yeah, but he's like the luckiest quarterback in the league.
Now he lucky.
Well, he is. Luckiest quarterback in the history of the league.
You can't get an A if you get the L.
No, you can't.
That's just kind of how it works.
That's why you couldn't have been a professional.
They visit you at the restaurant.
21, the offensive line, the defense, and the head coach.
So now
I'll throw in the coordinator.
So you separate them. So Dak is over here by himself, and then it's the Cowboys. It's Dak, and then it's the Cowboys.
Yeah, and whoever broke down the game tape to do QBR, they just kept looking, saying, whoop, check, 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 check. 88, leading the NFL in QBR. Way to go, Dak, because he's all my team has. What I figured out last night was, and by the way, I tweeted before the game, if my team is what I think it is, it will win this game.
They're not.
And it's not.
Okay, then.
It's not what I think because I overrated the defense, overrated the run game and the running back, but I love my quarterback. And the truth is, he's all I had.
Stop it.
Yeah, he's all I had. And you're the guy who says he's a bust, and he's still leading the league in QBR.
First of all, I did not say it was a bust.
Yes, you did.
And second of all, I told you guess what, Skilly? I mean, Skip. Philly is tied with the Cowboys.
Okay.
Oh, we haven't even mentioned that yet today.
Walk it to him when it's all said and done.
I told you are in the catbird seat. The Philly schedule is much easier than Dallas' schedule, and you might be right. The Cowboys just might miss the playoffs. That was the turning point last night.
The only difference is, Skip, is that we playing the same teams. Y'all got fat early. Now we gonna feast late. That's the only difference. Don't make it seem like y'all didn't play Miami. Y'all didn't play Washington. Y'all didn't play the Giants twice.
You get New England at home. So we have to go to Foxborough. Way to go.
The Lions
Congratulations.
First. See if you guys can get back on track.
You got the Jets at home with Luke Falk. We had to go to New York and play Sam Darnold in his miraculous return from mono.
Y'all get the Lions with, I don't even know the quarterback who.
I'll bet it'll be Matt Stafford.
No, Matt Stafford was out with a back injury.
I know, but I'll bet he'll come back. They said he could have played yesterday.
No, they didn't say he could.
He's got like that transverse process crack that they all play with.
No.
Want to bet?
Romo didn't play with it.
Yeah, he did. He came back after a game.
They need him in the back, and that's how that got started.
No mercy.
Lamar Jackson continues to look like an MVP frontrunner in a blowout win against the Bengals. Lamar had his second game with a perfect passer rating this season. He's only the second player, along with Ben Roethlisberger, to have 2 such games in 1 year. Lamar also had 4 total TDs, including a dazzling 47-yard run that left teammate Mark Ingram saying it was, quote, the craziest thing I've witnessed on the field. Fox Sports NFL analyst Greg Jennings with us now. Good to have you back. Appreciate it. Greg, is Lamar an MVP? The MVP?
If I got to vote,
I'm
going with Lamar Jackson right now. I'm going with Lamar Jackson. I understand what Russell Wilson has been able to do, but when I look at Lamar Jackson and I look at the growth, the vast growth that we've seen over this span of 10 games or 9 games, whatever, they're 7-2. It has been unbelievable, and it's been electrifying, it's been exciting, it's been whatever word you want to insert to glue you to your television to watch the Baltimore Ravens, to watch what is this kid going to do this Sunday.
Yep.
And every single time I watch him, he's having fun. The guys around him are having fun. He's top 11 in rushing, not for quarterbacks, like all of football. Top 11 in rushing. He's tied for 7th in TDs. Like, he's thrown for over 2,000 passing yards. What I mentioned in the preseason that he needed to work on, and I think everyone saw it, he needed to be more accurate and more efficient in the passing game. And he has done exactly that. Sure. It's been his style. It's been amazing to watch. Everybody has mentioned Greg Roman and what he's been able to do. But I put all the load and all the weight on Lamar Jackson because he has put in the time. He has done it week after week, went to New England or took down New England.
Sure.
A game that we were going to definitely say, okay, let's see what he looks like against what we all saw, the #1 defense in the league.
What is it? 0-2. Coach Belichick was like, first and second year quarterbacks like 0-20 against Coach Belichick.
No problem, no problem. But what I love about what Baltimore is doing with Lamar Jackson, and they've talked about it all offseason, they're allowing him to play his style of football. Yep. They're not forcing him to be Aaron Rodgers or Phillip Rivers or Patrick Mahomes, all these, Russell Wilson. They want him to be who he is, and he is thriving. I see him with the sunglasses on Sunday.
He was bright out there. He was bright out there. Real bright.
Look,
future
Shannon,
bright.
I'm like, man,
future bright, Skip.
He makes me want to suit up, and I've never wanted to suit back up.
I loved it.
Like, he is so exciting to watch. When you look at even Michael Vick, a guy who I watched, I played against, and thought he was and still is arguably the best runner of the football at quarterback. When I watched what Lamar Jackson did last night or yesterday, Vic, that Russian record is going down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he definitely getting
on pace right now.
He is a special player, and it's exciting. It's exciting because he's doing it in an unconventional way at the quarterback position.
Well, Nike needs to come out with a Lamar Jackson experience, Skip, like they had the Michael Vick experience.
Yes, they do.
They need to come out with a Lamar Jackson ride because the spin move is all the rave right now. I'm still, look, Lamar Jackson has been unbelievable. He's been better than advertised, and I think he's better. I know he's better than the Ravens thought he would be, especially at this point. They were just hoping that his arm could catch up. Say, if his arm can be half as dynamic as his leg, we got a special player. Well, his arm is probably 3/4 to what his legs is. And I agree with you, Greg. They have not tried to change this kid. They have not tried to say, we need you to be Peyton Manning or Tom Brady and be throw from the pocket. No, be you, but be smart while you're being you.
Yes.
Get down, get out of harm's way. But Skip, he ain't taking no shots because they can't catch him. Only thing he's running into the goal post when he gets into the end zone. But he's been unbelievable. But I say all of that, and he's been fantastic. But I still will give the slight nod to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has 3 more touchdowns than anyone. His team is 7-2. He's 22 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's very Aaron Rodgers-esque. That's very Aaron Rodgers-esque. He was second. Well, Dak, Skip says Dak. I'm going to have to take his word for it. I don't know. I didn't research this. Dak is leap back over.
He is.
Leap back over. But he called it L. Hey, Bow. QBR, completion percentage, yards per attempt, touchdowns, total TDs. That's Russell. And when Russell has needed to be great, 1-score games, he's 6-1, 20 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Now, Russell gets an opportunity to skip. He's on, it's kind of like whatever you want to say, American Idol, whatever one of these shows. Okay, who's up last? So now the last person we going to see for the week 9 is going to be Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
You got it.
You saw what Lamar did. Can you top that?
That's so true.
Can you top it? Because, Skip, this thing is fluid.
Yes.
This thing going back and forth.
Yes.
Now, my homeboy might get hot and throw about 4 or 5 of them 400-yard games, and then they win 4 in a row. And then here he go pole vaulting, Sergey Bubka, pole vaulting to the lead again.
But
right
he
now,
came knocking on your restaurant door last night
again,
and you said no.
That was Andy.
No,
Andy. That was Andy. Andy came and caught that L. Andy caught that L for Russ, for my homeboy. But it's close. It's really, really, really close. Skip, this ain't no secretariat where somebody's pulling away from it. This thing is neck and neck, and it's going to be like that all the way through, Skip. I don't believe anybody because everybody's going to have one of these games you say, well, that's the MVP. Well, no, that's the MVP. But Russ gets an opportunity against San Francisco. Russ goes to San Francisco, undefeated team, puts up 4 TDs.
You got me.
Yeah.
So, allow me to say before I launch on this that I wish my defense last night had looked nearly as sharp as Greg Jennings looks right now. Because that is sharp.
I appreciate it.
I agree with
It's my winter white right
I
here.
agree. Looks nice.
Winter white. I like that. See, you're shattering the mold just like Lamar is shattering the mold.
Guess who ain't shattering the mold? Your guy catching the mail just like a lot of other quarterbacks.
He is really good.
No, he's not.
But this guy is special good.
He really is.
He is my MVP, and maybe I'm caught up in the backstory of it because it's just so shocking to my senses to watch what he's doing. Because even if we do his QBR last year, Lamar, he had a really nice start, but he was 28th in QBR.
Yeah,
now he's 4th. He just gets better by the throw and by the run.
He does.
And I told him to start early in the show. He's the best breakaway back in the whole league.
Oh, hands down.
Just like nobody. Dalvin Cook can't do what this kid can do once he plants and cuts upfield. It's just over.
He gone.
And when he was going full speed, and I realize it's just the Bengals, but it's a division rival, and trust me, they didn't want to get embarrassed. And he spin moves on 2 of them and just left him in the dust. Left him just grasping and flailing. I'd never seen anything quite like that from a quarterback running full speed.
I'm with you, Skip. You mentioned it, the acceleration after the spin.
Gone. And the passing accuracy just gets better by the throw. And he's got this, he can just flick bullets. And it's just, and I promise you, you guys have played with quarterbacks occasionally where you just said, I just can't rise above that guy. You got stuck for a while with your backup quarterback, and I'm sure you've been at some point, maybe in college, where you said, I can't rise above him. I don't think any of these receivers are now saying, I can't rise above Lamar, like he's handicapping my ability to catch ball. No, he's not.
No.
He can throw it deep, he can throw it short, and he can throw it deadly accurately. And once I sat back and watched him out Belichick, because he was 1 move ahead, I'm saying this kid's a savant. Seriously, I'm not exaggerating. He is in such command of his offense. And I hate this expression, but everybody knows what it means, so I'm going to throw it out there. There are more than one ways to skin the cat. I don't even know what that means. You know, it's pretty like, it's pretty gross.
You trying to skin a cat?
Yeah, we're not trying to skin a cat, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. They have found a revolutionary way to skin this cat. And he is operating at a high mental level as well as physical level where he's in complete command. I don't see bad decisions. I don't see loss of poise. I don't see desperate. These are all the things you see in second-year quarterbacks. You just do. It's a hard game, man.
Absolutely.
And they're after you. They're all over you.
Well, normally, Skip, what you see in second-year quarterbacks is they brought a guy in and they want him to conform to the system.
Yeah.
What they've done, they brought this guy in and they built the system around him.
Yep.
So now he feels comfortable. Skip, I can assure you, they've talked to Bobby Petrino. They've gone down there and studied and asked him, okay, what did you do in this situation?
You and I kept looking at the numbers from Louisville, and we kept saying, look at this.
Somebody
look
threw
at these
for 35.
yards.
Yes.
Look at these touchdowns.
Yes.
He won the Heisman Trophy.
Right. This is how you thrive.
And the coach in the NFL, and he's a passing coach, right?
Yes.
And it worked.
Yep.
Okay, so he's taken it up a level, and I got to throw in Kyler Murray here. I'm not saying he's the MVP, but he's also doing extraordinary things for a first-year quarterback.
He's definitely playing better than I thought he would at this point.
Yeah, so now we have 2 young, I'm going to throw in the race here, but we have 2 young black quarterbacks who are operating at high mental levels in the evolution of a position in which I'm going to tell my story one more time. Back in 77, I think it was, the LA Times sent me to spend a week with Doug Williams at Grambling because it looked like he might be the first pick in the draft. And I called several GMs, and one of them told me, don't quote me on this, but he doesn't have the mental capacity to play in our league.
Right.
Well, that became the first black quarterback Doug did to win the Super Bowl. Yep. And now we've come to this where these kids are dominating the game mentally as well as physically. Because Kyler is an extraordinary chess player. Back from when he was 14 years old, he is a dominating chess player who could have done it for a living if he had had time and wanted to pursue that. So you got 2 kids operating at a cerebral level as well as physical level. And it's breathtaking to me to watch it.
It is. And I'll just reiterate. The kid is just flat out special.
Oh, he is.
Shannon,
He's
like,
dynamic.
I mean,
dynamic.
The electric plays that he makes, the skill that he's doing it against the competition. You know how hard this is, specifically at that position, and he's doing it at the rate that he's making it look so easy. So easy.
And I remind you, there were a couple of scouts anonymously quoted about Lamar, and one commentator, Bill Polian, who just said he's got to play receiver. Oh, really?
Boy,
wrong and wrong.
They still forgetting Marcus Peters out there. You can't throw the ball from one hash to the out, to that deep out. He go get you.
He didn't woke back up, didn't he?
He go get you.
But for you
he
to
feasts the family.
He makes you want to play again. I don't know.
No, he don't make me want to play, no. I just watch it. I watch it from my couch.
I think that says something.
It really does, man. And you made a great point. His receivers are excited. A running quarterback?
Nobody wants to play with a running quarterback.
No.
Because you run your route, you're like, and the next thing you know, you look at, hey, he come running. I'm like, dude, I just ran this perfect route. Here you go, you scrambling. This kid is dropping dimes. Hollywood Browns, David Andrews, Snead.
Hollywood.
He's playing unbelievable. He's playing unbelievable.
No mercy.
Minnesota was focused on stopping Ezekiel Elliott and held the running back to just 47 yards on the ground. The Cowboys offense relied heavily on Dak Prescott in the passing game to move the ball. Dak had nearly 400 yards along with 3 touchdowns, but down 4 with a minute and a half remaining, the Cowboys chose to run it twice from the Vikings 11, which resulted in a loss of 3 yards. On 4th down, Dak would throw an incomplete pass to Zeke. Dallas got the ball back with enough time for one Hail Mary attempt that resulted in Dak's lone interception of the game. And guys, Jerry Jones said he wouldn't second guess the play calling late in the game. So Greg, what was your biggest takeaway from this one?
Couple takeaways right out the gate. What was very alarming and noticeable was the offensive and defensive line just being dominated by the Minnesota Vikings. All game long in the run game. Specifically for the Minnesota Vikings, their offensive line just bullied the Dallas Cowboys defensive line. And then when you flip it on the other side, I just felt like the Dallas Cowboys, their O-line, they pass protected really well, but they showed no urgency when it came to run blocking. And when you pay these guys that much money, and I do not like talking about how much money you pay guys, but you got to give me more.
I agree.
When you look at what this team is built on and how what their identity is perceived to be and what they want to be a run-first team, and that just is not the case. And it puts me into this avenue of looking at Dak Prescott, who played a great game, a really good game, a good enough game to where that team should have won that game last night, but they didn't. When I look at Dak Prescott, and I said about a month or so ago now, that the Dallas Cowboys were still kind of questioning whether he's their guy, and I still think that and believe that to be the case, but I don't know why. When I look at what he's been able to do, I mean, you've said it. He's second in passing. He's second in average yards per pass. Like, we all talk about Dak Prescott, and we've talked about him in the past of not being able to throw the ball downfield. He's second in yards.
Air distance.
Yes, in air distance. And then he's third in yards per game passing. I mean, I get it. His interceptions are up there, tied for 4th in the NFL, which is high, but this is not a trend that I personally am concerned about because it's not been who he's been in the past. And so when I look at the Dallas Cowboys moving forward, Dak Prescott, and you said it earlier in the previous block, it's almost like this is all they have. This is almost all they have, and it's a credit to him, and it's unfortunate that he is going to be not judged solely by what he's doing this season from a statistical standpoint, but what they're not doing from a wins and losses. And if I'm Dak Prescott, I say, if you want to go down to the wins and losses, I still got you overall when it comes to wins and losses. I just don't like what I see with the Dallas Cowboys offensive and defensive line.
Before I back up what you said or refute what you just said, anytime someone tells you, if someone asks you mad? Nah, I ain't mad. What are they? When Jared says, I'm not second guessing the play call and skip, why would he have him broke that?
That's true. No, I'm fine.
He said, hey, thought we played a well of a game. The other team.
His point was it didn't work, so I'm not going to second guess it because it's so second guessable. Yeah, exactly. He's trying to bite his tongue.
Yeah, but which means he's
save himself from himself.
Which means that off camera he's second guessing. He's second guessing himself.
You better believe he is.
I agree. The defensive line from Minnesota won the battle. But at the end of the day, Skip tells me the quarterback is the most valuable player. He plays the most important position. And on 3 possessions, they got 0 points. Led by that guy that's leading the league in QBR, that's second in air distance. That was his quarterback. And for 3 straight drives, he got zipped.
So let me just interject really quick. So now is the standard to score every single? We know that's the standard, but is that's
what he told me about my homeboy?
Is that what has to happen now every time Dak has the ball?
No, but see, my thing is it about wins and losses or is it about QBR? Because I see, when quarterbacks have high QBRs but they lose, it's about winning. All I'm saying is this: Kirk Cousins and look. You've gone on the road and you know when you play in hostile environments, you want to minimize as many checks as you possibly can. You want to get up to the line of scrimmage and whatever play we call in the huddle, we're going to run it. Now, the Dallas Cowboys do something that they do this probably more than any defensive line in football. They like to stun a lot, which means they like to cross the opponent's face. They're trying to get there in a hurry, and the Vikes use that against them. Okay, you want to go somewhere in a hurry? Okay, guess what? We're going to run these screens. We're going to run these boots. We're going to keep it short. We're going to keep... The mistake the Cowboys made, Skip, is that they let Cousins and the offense get out to a lead. So now I can relax him. I don't need him to push the ball down the field because I'm down Thielen. Hey, I dunked the ball down to Dalvin Cook. Dalvin, go get me 15. I can throw the ball to Irv Smith. Irv, go get me 8. I can throw the ball to Kyle Rudolph. He didn't have to get out of his comfort zone. So as long as you let Kirk stay in his comfort zone, right here, hey, Skip, stay right here in this area right here. I want you to move.
In that pocket.
I want you to move. I do not want you to move.
What I told you.
And they didn't make him move. But Skip, at the end of the day, first cut, we down south, what we call him, old Kinfolk Kirk. No, we call him old Kinfolk Kirk. He outplayed your guy. Because at the end of the day, Skip, it's about dubs. I don't care about QBR. I don't care about air distance. I don't care about completion percentage. No,
and
win.
so does the rest of the league.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Okay.
You look foolish saying
Let me ask, Skip, if you don't mind me asking.
My quarterback, even you said, I haven't ever seen him throw it better than he did last night. Greg Jennings has caught a whole lot of balls in this league, so have you, but Greg Jennings says this guy can really play.
He can throw it, but if you don't mind me asking, who had the number 1 QBR last year? I can assure you he didn't win the Super Bowl. So you want dubs or you want the QBR, Skip? I took it off my menu because it wasn't a good seller.
Yeah.
It was too confusing. I didn't know if they wanted lettuce. I didn't know if they wanted sauerkraut. I didn't know what else it came. Too much goes into it, Skip. Too much.
I hear you.
Yeah, I don't hear any of you. Number 1 in the league in QBR. He was on fire last night.
He was.
And I was the first to admit to you to start this show, I way overrated my defense. It's just not very good because the pass rush, as great as it can be on occasion, it comes and it mostly goes. And it's never consistently there when you need big rushes at big moments against first or second cousins or whatever he is.
Careful, Kirk.
That defense cannot stop a good running team's run. And we saw it out here in the Coliseum in the playoff game against the Rams last year when CJ and Gurley just ran wild in the first half and into the third quarter. And I have little to no run game this year because, again, against the Giants, Zeke said, I've never had bigger holes in my career to run through. And yet, I can't find 21 anymore. He doesn't have a burst. He doesn't have any suddenness. He doesn't have any make you miss. He can just sort of hammer it up inside and just battering ram it for 3 or 4 yards, but there's no breakaway to him at all. And Collinsworth said something later in the game last night where there was one hole that it looked like Zeke had where he could make 8 yards. Remember, their long run of the whole night was by Tavon, 7 yards on a reverse.
Right.
And Chris Collinsworth said it's like he's lost his confidence, like there was a hole there and he just hesitated like, should I run through this hole? This guy, we saw at The Ohio State University, especially his second to last year, he ran wild on America all the way through the playoffs, all the way through Alabama and Oregon, and I can't find him anymore. Last night, it looked like he was running in the Cabo sand. That's what it looked like because he couldn't even get out of the blocks. And you're right, they're getting whipped at the line of scrimmage. But the truth about this team is it just goes as the quarterback goes. And the reason he has led the league in his first 3 years in game-winning drives is he camouflaged all the flaws. He kept rising above all the issues this team has and bringing them back and back and back more than anybody. Brought his team back. This kid brought his team back to a lot of wins. And he's second in wins to that guy up in Foxborough over his first 3 years. And now, last night was the classic case of they dug a hole that nobody could dig out of against the Vikings because that defense is really good. I don't care what you say. The front's good. Yeah. Harrison Smith is good. The linebackers are really good. They're smart. They're well coached. And they come after you. And they disguise well. And all their blitz disguise, it was stunning to watch. And my quarterback was spotted a 14-0 lead and said, no, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to fight you, and I'm going to bring you back. And he got it to 14-0, and then they let Kirk Cousins get away with some duck pass that set up a field goal at the end of the half, so it's 17-14. And then here he comes again. And now we get to the final drive of the game, the big one, and he is out of his mind and completes for 10 yards, 13 yards, 28 and 8. He drives them from their 6-yard line all the way to the Vikings' 11-yard line. Okay. And now it's 2nd and 2 from the 11. And I'll give you one try, just one try with Zeke, who had gone nowhere slowly the whole night. But he's gotten so many of those 3rd and 2s for this team over the last 3 years where he's just run through the brick wall on 3rd and 2. And they tried it, and it failed miserably and predictably. And now I got big issues because on 3rd and 2, they go back to a shotgun give on the inside handoff where he tries to cut it to the left and up. And it goes backwards. And that's the play where the quarterback has to have the ball in his hands because he's your playmaker. He always has been.
He is.
Guess how many called runs he had last night? 0. He can really run quarterback draws, as we saw against Seattle in the playoff game. He can really run the zone read. Not one time did he have a zone read keeper last night. And on that play, that 3rd and 2, I wanted to see him keep the ball. I wanted to see a bootleg where you have an RPO. You know, you can either run it or toss it to Jason Witten. I wanted to see something creative.
I'm just trying to figure out how can the guy with the best QBR, now Russell Wilson is 2nd, his team is 7-2. Lamar Jackson is 4th. His team is 7-2. How can the guy with the best record, and I ask you, talent for talent, player for player, who has the better talent? Baltimore Ravens, Seattle Seahawks, or the Dallas Cowboys?
Those 2 you named, they're much better. This team's way overrated. The defense is way overrated.
Both teams are better coached.
Yeah, they're
on
much
both
better
sides
coached.
of the ball.
So then what happens? So we get to 4th down, and Dak wants to go fast and call his own play.
Right.
And I believe he would have converted 4th and 5. But no, Mike Zimmer calls time. And it requires Dak to trudge over to the sideline, and Jason Garrett gets involved. And I promise you, Jason Garrett called that play. He's a play caller by his nature. By nature, yeah. Like it's what he's always done his whole life. And what happens? They call the primary receiver, the play that was called, and Jason Garrett had the audacity to say it was an RPO. There's no RPO.
What you trying to say, Skip? What you trying to say?
Well, I'm just saying it was just a pass to Zeke in the flat to the guy who can't separate. And he couldn't separate from Eric. Well, could he? Did he separate? And was it a good throw? It was a really good throw, but Eric Kendricks all over it.
He made a great point.
Yeah.
To your point, Skip, they haven't been able to run the ball. Ezekiel Elliott has looked different, but when they need to run it, they just haven't. When you get 24 first downs and you have 0 by way of rushing.
0
by way of rushing.
Thank you.
And this is who we are. This is our identity. Something's wrong.
All I'm saying is this. When they was winning, Jason Garrett got no credit. Now they losing, they blame Jason Garrett.
No, he gets no credit anyway.
Okay, so he should.
Very true.
Should he get any blame then? If you don't give me any credit, why should I get blamed?
Okay, help me out. When your quarterback's on fire, when he's leading the whole league in QBR, when he's converted 9 third downs with long passes, why would you take the ball out of his hands on 2nd, 3rd, and 4th down?
Well,
where you take the ball, you don't let him do what he wants to do.
Well, we left him.
Why would you do that?
Skip, when you throwing out them picks, hold on, didn't you say he was 4th in the league in picks? So what? Is that Jason Garrett's fault too?
2 of them are Hail Mary.
No, I don't know that.
Yeah.
But see, he want to talk about the Hail Marys. But if he throws a touchdown, does he get credit for a touchdown, Greg? If he
does get credit for the touchdown.
Oh, so that's a pass you should have completed. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers does it all the time.
No mercy.
The Cowboys offense relied heavily on Dak Prescott in the passing game to move the ball last night. Dak had nearly 400 yards passing along with 3 TDs, but down 4 with a minute and a half remaining. The Cowboys chose to run it twice from the Vikings 11, which resulted in a loss of 3 yards. On 4th down, Dak would throw an incompletion to Zeke, and Jason Garrett said he didn't want to get into all of the details of the play when asked about it after the game. So, Skip, how much is Jason Garrett to blame for the loss?
A whole lot. Jason Garrett is to blame for 5 and 4, a whole lot, because this team again and again.
The 5 or the 4?
The 4, obviously, because this team is rarely ready to play at kickoff. Jason Garrett's voice has gone stale in that locker room, and you have played for teams where after a while you don't even listen to what he's saying. They were not emotionally or psychologically ready for a huge Sunday night game against a really good football team in their house. They came out flat on defense once again. And I'm going to remind you that of those 9 games, only twice have they jumped out to leads. One was against the Dolphins when they were just a joke. They're no longer a joke, those Dolphins, but they were a joke when they played Dallas and several other teams. But the only other time they jumped on somebody, and it was at home on a Sunday night, was after Doug Peterson did what Jason Garrett is incapable of. Doug Peterson motivated the Dallas Cowboys by predicting a victory, guaranteeing a victory at Jerry World on a Sunday night because they had stunk it up the week before, and he got defensive on his radio gig and said, we're going to go down there and we're going to win that game. And it took that to light a new fire under my team. And I told you before, Jason Garrett couldn't motivate a rodeo bull coming out of the chute. And that's pretty hard not to do. But my defense is rarely ready to play at kickoff, and it's hard to watch. I know you're rooting against them, but if you're rooting for them, it just squeezes your guts to have to sit back and watch. They're flat. They're not ready to go. They can't tackle Dalvin Cook. And I know he's really good and he's leading the league in rushing, but you've seen teams come out with fire and intensity and focus and emotion and just overwhelm a visiting team. They weren't ready to do that. And I'll give you this, on offense, they don't play with real early urgency. Dak is at his best when he's the hopeless underdog, fighting.
When he's behind and they're throwing every play? Oh, okay.
It's a little different.
Well, he's really good at that because I'm not sure there's anybody better than that. But I don't give Jason Garrett any credit for the wins because I've told you from the start, he just goes along for the ride. He's Coach Clap. He just stands over there clapping.
This is the part that's confusing to me. He gets no credit for the wins, but you give him all the blame. How?
Give him all the blame?
Yes.
Because they come out flat again and again. At some point, Jerry Jones has to sit back and say, boy, I love Jason like a son, but this team needs a new voice, a new urgency, somebody to shake up a locker room the way Jimmy Johnson, and Jerry knows how Jimmy used to shake that locker room up.
But Jerry doesn't want that kind of personality as head coach. Because the guy that can do that, a Sean Payton, a Coach Belichick, a Mike Tomlin, those type of coaches, you don't tell them what to run, when to run it, who to play, and how to play them. That's what Jerry does. That's why Jerry has Jason Garrett. That's what he paid for.
And then, what did we see late last night in the game? We saw 2 things happen. How about when they finally did stop Minnesota on its last possession, and now it's time to maybe get the Hail Mary. And there's a punt to Tavon Austin. Tavon Austin can still fly. This is coaching. This is a head coaching error because he was instructed to fair catch it no matter what because the time is running low.
That's what you do, yes.
But you have to give him the option. If he's got a 20-yard cushion and he can fly, I'll bet you could still time 4-4. I'll bet you could.
But here's the thing.
We saw him return one against Seattle in the playoffs.
We've seen this so many times. This is what Coach Belichick does. In the punt situation or the kick situation, the time is my friend. I don't want any time to run off the clock. We fair catch it, and then we give Tom as maximum amount of time as we possibly can. So he did what was instructed. He played it right.
Well, he looked at the sidelines like,
was it right then in your eyes?
Well, looking back at it, I mean, hindsight's a perfect science.
True.
It's easy to look back and say, man, they had the wall set up. Because it looked like normally they set the wall up to their bench.
You let that little man get a running start, he is going to be hard to tackle. It's possible he could have broken completely away.
But here's the thing. Okay, what happens? He catches the ball, and he runs, and he fumbles it. The coach should have instructed him to fair catch it. You see, Jason Garrett can't win. If he does it right, if he plays it, Well, Jason, Jerry wants him to go for it. That's what got him in trouble a lot, because he goes for it more than he normally would, more than even maybe the coach's manual say you should.
Okay.
Because he's trying to please Jerry. Skip, he understands. I'm coaching for my job here. And he's not doing himself.
I don't think he thinks that. I think he's made man. I think he's a son to Jerry.
He'd be a made man if he had a 3-year deal. Skip, my only problem is, and I've said it before, all the blame that this man gets, he doesn't motivate, he doesn't have an imagination. Now, they got rid of Scott Linehan because they say he was more of a Tony Romo guy. He didn't have the connection that Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott have. They didn't say anything about Jason Garrett. Now, Chris Richard, Rod Marinelli, they handle the defense. 2 fiery, brimstone-type guys.
I'm not sure Chris is, but Marinelli definitely. He's more that. And Chris Richard has got a chance to be a head coach in this league. Okay. But I don't see fire from him.
So how did Jason Garrett come into that?
Well,
you think? Let me ask you a question. You think Sean McVay is over there, and Wade Phillips talking about Wade, you need to get the defense going? No, he said, Wade, you got that. Jason Garrett said, Rod Marinelli, Chris Richard, y'all got that. He said, Kellen Moore, hold on. He did. Jason Garrett didn't fire Scott Linehan. Jerry Jones did and hired Kellen Moore. But now, a few calls don't go right. That's Jason Garrett. He overruled him, and he told him to do this.
I've told you before, the head coach has veto on run or pass.
Yes.
And I will bet you Jason Garrett had input into 2nd, 3rd, and 4th downs in which the ball was taken out of Dak's hands and tried to put in Zeke's hands. I'll bet you he signed off, and I'll bet you he called the pass to Zeke on 4th down.
I don't believe he called it. I don't believe it. It didn't go, Skip, it just didn't go according to plan. Maybe, just maybe, you're not as good as you thought.
Well,
and just maybe, no, team.
Yeah.
No, hold on. Your guy, I want you to stop doing this, because I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to isolate that. You're trying to put him over here and try to make it seem like, but guess what? Dak can't go to the Super Bowl alone. So either the Cowboys go or he's not.
This is the 4th year Dak has saved Jason Garrett's job.
Oh, my
the 4th year.
That's what it's come to?
Yeah.
All right.
No mercy.
Let's talk about the Lakers, shall we? LeBron and the Lakers' 7-game winning streak came to an end last night. LeBron racked up a triple-double but only scored 13 points. Anthony Davis had a team-high 27, and Kyle Kuzma led the Lakers bench with 15. Tied heading into the 4th, the Raptors opened up the quarter on a 17-6 run and held on to win 113-104. So, Shannon, give LeBron a letter grade on his performance last night.
C-.
Oh.
You gave him a C-, the king?
C-. That's all I could give him, Skip.
Woo,
this is a first.
That's all I could give him,
Is that the lowest grade you've given him before?
I think so. I think LeBron struggles, Skip, sometimes with, do I score more tonight or do I facilitate more? And LeBron I think LeBron is this is going to go on. I mean, it's still early. It's only 9 games, Skip. He's going to have to understand he's not surrounded by shooters. So early on, guys are going to, they're like, okay, we'll give you that because we don't believe come 3rd and 4th quarter, you guys will consistently make those jump shots. And you see what happened when that went away, Skip. Because it wasn't like Toronto turned up their defense. They just missed shots. The ball just wouldn't go in. And their defense lapsed. Because they were playing really well. They only scored 44 points in the 2nd half, and I think they had 64 at the half. So they only got 44 points. LeBron, he did look sluggish last night. Looked like he didn't have any lift. I mean, he missed a couple of bunnies, and then he tried to put it back, and Siakam threw it back to half court. I mean, the only reason I gave him a C-, Skip, is because he did have 15 assists, and he did have 13 rebounds. But I mean, 15 assists. Think about it, Skip. He had 15 assists with only 2 turnovers. So he didn't play that bad, but just offensively, free throw percentage, we were up over 75 again. And now we
fell below 74. Right?
I thought we just...
What was he? 3 of 6.
3 of 6. We didn't start that good. But, Skip, the thing for me also, Kyle Kuzma can't play 11 fewer minutes and only take 2 fewer shots. JaVale McGee can't play.
That's who he is.
Skip, JaVale McGee played 20 fewer minutes than LeBron and had 4 fewer shots. LeBron had 9 points at the half. He had 9 points through. He only made one shot the entire 2nd half.
Yeah.
So I gave him a C-. That was not one of his final performances. You look at the stat line, 13 13, 12, 13, 13, and 15.
Yeah,
but
15.
Nah, it was bad.
That's what I used to call a Jason Kidd triple-double, where you don't have 20 points. You should have to have 20 to have a triple-double.
No.
Yes.
It's not enough.
It's double figures or something.
Because Jason was classic 10, 10, and 10, right? 10 points. So, to your point, you keep telling me he's the best player on the planet still, right? So I got to grade him on a sharp curve. Yeah. So I gave him a D as in dog last night because LeBron looked like he was in need of load management last night. In the second half, he went 1 for 8.
Yeah.
They lost the second half 61-44. At home to a team with no Kyle Lowry and no Serge Ibaka. Really? And that play that you referred to, the little Miss Bunny, if we could quickly see that. This is with like 4.5 minutes left. Well, look at this. So LeBron gets it right underneath. LeBron, that's the all-time bunny. And then, whoops, Ibaka says, "Eat this, King." Right? Whew.
I think he thought it. I think sometimes Skip, when he's like down there, I think sometimes he's like playing for contact, and when the contact doesn't come, he shoots the ball a little harder than what it needs to be.
Well, he looked like he didn't have his legs.
Well, he didn't know there was no bounce there last night. I can't argue that.
So Magic Johnson used to run what was called the Showtime offense. LeBron is now running the slow time offense because they just walk it up the floor and the scores are low, and they got a break on Friday night because Miami came in and had a little issue with one of their players, right?
Yeah.
Dion Waiters had a little issue on the plane.
He got a hold of me and some of the old Snoop Gummy.
I was wondering if you had anything to do with it.
And had a little panic attack, so he didn't get to play on Friday night, but still the score is so low because they just walked the ball up the floor.
But here's the thing, Skip. If you're not going to get in transition and run, you definitely can't let the other team get out. They got outscored in fast break points 32-8.
No good.
You look if you're not going to get out and run, you can't let the other team do that because that's too many easy, cheap baskets, and that's what hurt them in the second half. But we got Phoenix on Tuesday. Phoenix is a lot better this year than they were in the previous year. We'll get back on it.
Well, I'm serious about this. LeBron said on Friday night, hey, if LeBron is healthy, LeBron will play every game. Bad idea, because in 17th year at this stage and age, you need to rest some. He looked like he needed a rest last night.
He said he rest when he dead.
Yeah.
He'll be right. Well, you go see what happened. We'll see what happened in Phoenix.
Okay.
Triple-double, probably a 30-point triple-double.
Rolling.
What you think we about to do?
Yeah.
Who got the best record in the West?
They do.
We do. We.
Said that so quietly.
You saw that? I got something for you Wednesday. I'll break them out Wednesday. Or somebody sent me a little care package.
Oh, I think I know. I've seen a little preview of this.
Whatever.
15?
Skip.
Really?
Skip. He had
1 of 8 in the second half?
Hold on, Skip.
This is the king.
Skip. He had an off night. Did Michael Jordan never have an off night?
I kept telling you, it's Kawhi Town now.
I just asked you a simple question. Did Michael Jordan, did Larry Bird, did any of the all-time greats?
Not like that. No, 1 of 8 in the second half.
Really, Skip?
Jordan never did that.
Skip. I saw Jordan go 4-19 in the NBA Finals game. But I don't know my business. I don't even know why I brought that up, because we're not talking about him.
Well, every time
saying.
Kawhi plays and it's the fourth quarter, he just takes it over. And last night...
Every time he plays.
Every time. You notice that? When he... we have to do
that now.
Maybe he's the smart one and your guy's not.
When he plays.
Not how it works.
That does Skip. You play. So you know what the NBA should do? Okay, you out? Okay, guess what? We're going to cut that check. You ain't getting no check for the game. We'll see how you do then.
I kind of like that.
We'll see how that flies with the Players Association.
All that, like I said, but California is funny. The probationary period,
weird.
I think it's shorter in California because he's been on the job for 3 weeks. He got PTO.
Yep.
Did the Cowboys have an off night as well? Is that what happened? Yeah! Because I had a great night.
No mercy.
So the Cowboys found themselves down 4 with a minute and a half remaining last night. On 2nd and 2 from the Vikings' 11-yard line, Dallas handed the ball off to Zeke twice. That resulted in a no gain and a loss of 3 yards. Then on 4th and 5, Dak threw an incompletion to Zeke, who had been lined up in the slot. The Cowboys would get the ball back, but with only enough time for an unsuccessful Hail Mary attempt. And after the game, Jerry Jones said he wouldn't second-guess the play calling, based on the result. Shannon, what do you make of the play calling at the end of the game?
Well, it's easy to second guess it now because it didn't work, but normally Zeke is good for 2 yards. We've seen Zeke drag people into the end zone. Skip, you remember he was hitting the backfield against Green Bay, and he drug the defensive lineman on his back into the end zone. And so I can understand the call that they think we're going to throw the ball, we're going to spread them out, Zeke, hit it quick, and we'll get the first down and we'll move on. If he doesn't get the first down, he's going to at least get us a touchdown. And that didn't happen. The third down call, Skip, I think they're trying to trick him. I thought they, see Zeke in the offset. They're not going to run the ball to Zeke. And if he does start, he's going to try to run up inside. Zeke starts up inside, and then he tries to bounce it. And they did a great job of stringing it out. The center got beat. Left tackle got pushed back. And so really he had nowhere to go. But it just shows, what this shows me, that even down in distance, in that area of the field, they were still committed to stopping Zeke Elliott. There's no way you can play coverage and get that kind of penetration on a consistent basis to hold that guy, Ezekiel Elliott, who's one of the best runners in football, to 20 carries and 47 yards. It just shows me that Zim was committed that, like, Ezekiel Elliott is not going to beat me because if I lose this game to the Cowboys, it's going to be because their quarterback played a heck of a ball game. And he played well, Skip, but they have dug themselves too much of a hole early in the ball game to overcome that. So for me, the play calling, if it worked, ain't got no problem with it when it working, you know what I'm saying? But see, for so long, Jerry has been about the results. When a play didn't work, it was a bad play. When a play worked, it was a good play. That's not how you do it. And I'm going to trust these guys. They've studied enough tape. They saw the defense that the Vikes line up in, and it just didn't work. Skip, defensive players get paid too. A lot of money. And the most talented guys are on that side of the football. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Did Ezekiel Elliott look like himself to you last night? You're in the Hall of Fame.
Looked just fine.
Looked just fine, said the guy who was rooting like mad for the Vikings.
Skip, why would I do that?
Like crazy.
Why would I do that?
I saw no evidence that Zeke could get 3rd and 2 or 4th and 2 or any of those twos that he tried to get, 2nd and 2. And he had gone nowhere slowly the whole game. And I'm sorry, but I've told you the whole year, I don't see the same player. I don't see a guaranteed $50 million. He's the highest paid running back, and not once this year has he looked like he should be the highest paid running back.
You saw him against the Giants.
Yeah. What did he say after the game? Never had bigger holes to run through in my career.
Okay, what about the Jets? 105. Washington.
When they fell behind by 21-3. He was playing on offense too. You always say, "Where was the quarterback in those first 3 drives?"
But you tell me the quarterback. Hold on, but you tell me the quarterback has the ball on every play. Zeke don't get the ball on every play. I just get the ball when you give it to me.
All I know is that the quarterback was out of his mind hot. The quarterback had made play after play. And I can also tell you this, the quarterback in big play situations is as good a running quarterback on making plays, the key play of the game, as there is in football. I'm talking about the key play, where you let him run the quarterback draw or the option keep or the bootleg RPO. He can pull off those plays because he is a gamer, battler, winner in those moments. Not one time did they call a play for him last night. Not one time. And when you put the game in Zeke's hands after he's gone nowhere slowly, that's the play caller's fault. Whoever it was, Jason Garrett or Kellen Moore.
Someone's to blame there.
Well, if you go to New England and beat them, Skip, I'm on Dak's bandwagon.
Okay, we'll have to see.
No mercy.
Ahead of the Rams-Steelers game, Jalen Ramsey said JuJu Smith-Schuster isn't the same threat that Antonio Brown was. JuJu responded saying that in L.A., as opposed to Jacksonville, Ramsey can't just do whatever he wants, and, quote, here he has to do what he's told. So, Shannon, did you like JuJu's response?
Yeah, if I was JuJu, I'd say, you're right. I'm not an AB. I'm gainfully employed. When I did with that one right there, I said, you're right. We're totally different players. We're wired differently. But I tell you what we did, the same thing that AB used to do. We got that dub out here. Now you go back to L.A., get back on the plane, all sore, beat up, hold this sail all the way back to L.A.
Would you believe Pittsburgh at 5-4 right now would be in the playoffs if they started today?
Wow.
Would you believe the Rams at 5-4 would be out of the playoffs if they started today?
No.
So I love what JuJu said because I don't think he wants to be Antonio Brown.
No.
As much as he respected him, and I think he got along great with him, he wants to be JuJu, and JuJu's pretty good at being JuJu. And guess what? The Steelers are starting to come alive here, and they got a big game on Thursday night against those Browns, but they're not that far out of the division lead, so I'm not going to write them off.
A little bit off topic. We know we talked about last week, Skip, Carolina potentially moving on. The Steelers going to have a decision to make. Landry Jones is playing quite well.
Not Landry Jones, but
what's this one?
Mason
Rudolph. Excuse me. Yeah, Mason Rudolph is playing his tail off. That defense is coming around, Skip. You can win.
He's not Ben, though.
Hey,
I like the dynamic, though, Mason Baker.
Do we know Ben's going to... Hey, Skip, we know Ben's going to come back off that elbow surgery? How we know he's going to come back?
I don't know. I think he's got a year or two left.
Okay.
Hey, Lamar Jackson says, I got 10 years left. I got next.
That's a problem.
You survived the day, Skip.
No, he didn't.
It was a hard one.
He didn't.
I know it was a hard one.
They beat him so bad.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Sports, one of one.